So they just trashed the books immediately. So,
And what was an oral history passed on, you don't really know about.
well, that's why they got rid of the bards too, because the bards had thousands of stories, and it was all nonverbal, and then phew, they got wiped out. So they can't keep those stories going along. Okay, let's do this one. This one.
Yay. I'm excited.
This one, actually, this is really small compared to what this one. What do we got? That side to what this really is. This is actually up in a big high ceiling beam, and it's carved into what's called the Abydos Temple. Now, Abydos in Egypt would be like Vatican City. I mean, it was the holiest of holiest. So I'll read the back of this. The Temple of Osiris, built by Seti I, has this remarkable carving on a high ceiling beam. It's about 20 feet up, too. It seems to display a helicopter, gunboat, flying saucers, hovercrafts, landing platforms, satellite dishes, and runway lights. I mean, you can even see, like, here's Luke Skywalker's speeder right here, you know?
There you go.
And satellite dishes over here, and it looks like a battle boat, and landing gear and all kinds. And the helicopter's a dead ringer.
God, I know. It's amazing.
So this is 3,500 BC. They uncovered this. It was all buried in the sand. Now,
It's amazing.
naysayers say that what this really is some of these actually do look very parallel to some Egyptian normal hieroglyphics. Let me get this pen over here. There, I got it. Yeah, like the back of this helicopter and this thing over here. So what they think, to dispel this, was that there was hieroglyphics, and then when they wanted to change the story and update them, they smear plaster on top of it, right? And then carve a new one. And then when the old plaster falls off, you get a merging of the old one and the new one, and it just happens to look like this.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I'm sorry.
I could see maybe one.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe one.
Yeah. Oh, that kind of looks like a speeder or a UFO. But I mean, if you look at this closely yourself, I mean,
it's amazing.
So
And
how big is this in like?
it's about the size of this table.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's kind of fractured off on this side. You can go on the internet and get pictures of this.
I've seen this
Yeah.
before, but I didn't know the story.
Well, this is the real figure of it. The internet.
that almost looks like a submarine.
It does with a gunboat. Yeah, it does.
And-
Now there's a story behind this. When a guy went in there and took this picture and then released it, right? And this is how tricky he gets. What they did is they took the photo that was released, right, and they doctored it up. They removed a lot of it, and they released that picture to the public, right? Because that picture is a fraud. So they released the fraud.
Yeah, so they could say it was
A fraud, yeah. So, but the real picture, the real picture is out there. You know.
I get so tired of these people not telling us the truth.
Well, I mean, they definitely think they have something to hide. You know what I mean? They definitely are doing it for some other
That's a
reason.
power-
Probably like some personal motive,
Power
some political.
Oh, you know what? I can give you a little story real quick on this. There was Egyptology was real big in the 19th century. Everybody had their mummies in their parlors and all that, right? And they were shipping this stuff out as fast as they could. As a matter of fact, there was such a glut of mummies on the market that the railroads bought them to throw them in the furnaces, and they were
Yeah,
tossing them in the
paper out of them. They did all kinds of stuff with them, right?
Yeah. So anyway, what they had is there was this crate of what was labeled Egyptian birds, and it was in the British Museum in London, and it was cataloged about 1898, and it stayed down there, right? Just a relic. Well, it was about I think it was in the 70s or 80s. The janitor was cleaning down there with his kid, and the kid opened the box, and he's playing with these things, going, the birds, right?
Wow.
Well, when they didn't have Egyptian translated at the time they cataloged it, so they just took a guess and said it was birds. When they translated the script that went with it, what these were models that they used in class to teach pilots how to fly gliders. So these were actually aerodynamic. When you look at them, this isn't a bird, it's a plane.
Wow.
You know? It wasn't Superman.
Right?
So they were little model airplanes that they would use in class to teach the people how to fly these airplanes. So, and here's the text.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, but everybody knows that.
No, we don't.
But they don't tell you this.
I'm just
They just don't tell you. Not only do they not tell you, they do their best to hide these
hide
things.
it.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I'm saying. What is it hurting people to know this stuff?
Well, I mean,
Oh, it's going to shatter
But
somebody's
what happened to the
box?
Orville and Wilbur Wright Museum and if the Egyptians flew first?
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, there's a lot of
They shattered their paradigms.
yeah, there's a whole lot of things that will be like changed from that. And again, like a lot of people.
But if they would have
mental
just been
needs for
honest
that.
with, I don't know. I think they'd be like, hey, people, isn't this fascinating? Look at this.
No.
There's a lot of stuff that they bury. They're called UPARTs, out-of-place artifacts, where they'll find like high-grade tungsten steel bearings, right? And they're buried in coal and in the East Coast, underneath a mountain, a vein of coal, and they'll pull out these high-tech ball bearings. It's
Wow.
like in coal that's like, 20,000 million years old or whatever, and they'll find all this old stuff, and it's like, well, we don't need that to be out, So they
I guess
just
it's the
bury
same
it.
thing they do with the religion, they tamper with it to make it to where they
what they
can
need.
still keep control of people,
Seems to me that way. Let's do my favorite one.
Woohoo!
This one I chipped on the way in. Ah, too bad. You do not want
That's character, right?
to... Not this one.
Oh, no.
You don't...
Oh, yeah.
Super glue.
Gravity does not like these. This is a cool one. This one, let me see where we're at here. This one is like the biggest relief one that I do. This one is called the Goddess Rising. So we've got the goddess in the center, and you can see like she's kind of rising up out of this element here. This was actually on a big, huge sarcophagus, which is like a tomb, a stone tomb, and it kind of wrapped around, encircling the whole thing. But I just cut it, so this wave effect would follow all the way around. So what we've got here is, a lot of times there's stories going on in symbols, multi-leveled cosmologies, as it were. So we've got the goddess who's rising out of the cosmic waters. The waters of the deep, the waters of space. So it's kind of like the planet itself is parting the waters of space to become a solid item. So up here we have the spirals again, because a lot of times life was seen to be bound, and it would open up and explode and unwind from being trapped, like a snail shell would unwind, or a fern would unwind, or a leaf unwinds, but the potentiality of life was locked and trapped. So we've got the cosmic waters and the life essence springing up from being trapped. So we've got life. Now here we've got the breast of the goddess, which is a life symbol, but it also doubles as the owl. Then the owl goddess represents death, the owl eyes. And still owls are a sense of an omen when you see an owl, and so it's old stuff. So this is kind of cool because we've got life, death, and then the breasts are like regeneration element. So the Trinity is here. So this also goes to a cosmology of where spirit itself in the implicate spiritual world actually falls, and it's a fall of spirit, not this fall of man, but spirit gets locked into matter and it's trapped in matter, and then
When you die,
it opens up and is released and it's reborn. So there's a death into the physical world, and then it will open up, which you can see a lot of. Let me set this one down. Oh, let me do one more quick thing on this. When you turn it upside down, it's a George Adamski flying saucer.
Oh, wow.
And this is the view that you would see.
It looks cool both ways, actually.
A lot of times when you turn these things upside down or spin them or tilt them, they take on a different aspect. But what I was going to get to is that instead of a lot of the old cosmologies were really a natural-based organic flavor to them, instead of like a mechanism, a clock, or an artifact that was made a long time ago and is just sitting there like an artifact, like a piece of pottery that was made once, but is continually bubbling up with this cycle of life, death, and regeneration. So the glory of creation doesn't fall upon us from heaven above, but it actually percolates from the bottom up.